Good afternoon, traders and investors. Hope you guys had a great week in trading here. Coming to you live with the Friday market update. Recording this video a bit late on a Saturday, however, but the S&P 500 just had its worst day since April 25th, guys, a minus 1.55 day. You would have to go all the way back on the charts here to April 25th to see a day where the SPY put in over 1.5% of drop. QQQ dropping 1.71%, and all across the board, guys, was considerably negative. No real major news. Most media outlets were dumbing it down to pretty much a delayed reaction from hotter CPI results, both on the CPI and the PPI, and some concerns in Europe that inflation would continue to persist after the ECB raised their interest rate to 4%. You also had quad witching day, so it was the biggest expiration day for options in the quarter. So market makers definitely having fun with a lot of people toying with people's emotions and trying to hit those max pain numbers and make people expire worthless. So what we're going to look at today, guys, we're going to take a look at the major indexes. Are they still safe? Going to take a look at our major tech names and how they stand. And lastly, a portfolio update, since I didn't provide one as of yesterday. And we did close a lot of positions here, guys, and positioned a few new ones for the upcoming week. So let's get into it right away, guys, here. Let's look into the heat map, guys. You can see pretty much red all across the board here, led majorly by big tech here. You can see our big tech names, guys, putting in multiple percentage drops, right? 3.66% on Meta, 3% on Amazon, 3.69% on NVIDIA, 2.5% on Microsoft, Apple, Google, and Tesla fairly muted. Semiconductors, though, absolute disaster on the day. AMD almost down 5%. So everything down, financials and healthcare not able to keep it up either. On the one-day relative, you'll see that every single major sector in the books was red. On the one-week relative, however, it doesn't look so bleak, as most of our major indexes were still up, with technology leaning to the downside, 2.13%. So big pullback here on technology on the week. So where do we stand, guys? Let's look into the technicals right away. Now, as we were saying, we were always looking to protect this daily uptrend, right? This is where it's turning into a bit of a tightening range, guys. The key level for me is we're almost there, 443, almost there. You can see 37 cents away. If we do get a break of 443, guys, this turns into a daily downtrend, and we are looking for potential further weekly consolidation. And then we will be looking at our key level here. 433, guys, is going to be the line in the sand for me. Break this and you end up with a weekly downtrend into September. I'll remind you that September is known for being pretty weak in terms of seasonality, guys. These are the months of stock returns here. 1950 in blue, past 20 years, in yellow here, in orange past 10 years, and in gray the past 5 years. And you can see all across the board, September is the only month where you can categorically say that everything is negative. And over and above that, guys, the last 10 trading days in September are the worst days. Arguably, it's when you really start to see that drop start to accentuate itself into the end of the month. So, guys, are we potentially due here, guys, for a potential retracement down here for the next 2 weeks into our lower levels? Very possible, but we do have a decent amount of space here, guys, right? On the SPY, we're talking about space from current close here. On the weekly, talking about roughly 2%, right? So not that much space, but still a little bit amount of space to work with. Might not necessarily go straight down, but definitely a decent amount of space to work with here. On the monthly, you'll see that we are in consolidation mode here, guys. The 12 EMA, which is your next area of support, is all the way down here at 426. That would be a pretty hefty drop for the SPY. 426 is about 4.3% away, right? So very possible that we do it, but just always know that your monthly bulls are in control, and any pullback will be a good buying opportunity here into the end of the year for our bulls, in my opinion here, guys. So 443 is your first line in the sand level here. Bulls capacity to save it here, but seasonality playing against us. And then we're going down here to our second most important level, which is your weekly higher low. Going to take this one day at a time, guys, but now is definitely the time to play it a bit more defensive here, in my opinion. QQQ, also same thing, toying with the 369 level, right? Daily uptrend, now tightening range, right? You could see these better, right? This is SPY on the futures chart, so you can see this tightening range a bit better. This is QQQ, also tightening range here at the top, right? So QQQ really looking to protect this level, guys. If ever we lose this, it does turn into a daily downtrend. We will be looking after that for weekly consolidation. Your weekly higher low will be set at this point up here. Then we will be looking, can the bulls save your 355 level, which is going to be your weekly higher low after this entire move here? Can the bears flush this, or are we just going to potentially get a tightening range before potentially exploding to the upside in October as we get started there with Q3 earnings? Hopefully company profits don't dwindle too much and their guidance stays relatively good. That will be what the markets need to kind of uphold this. We do have a big Fed meeting next week here, guys. So going to be very important to see, is the Fed going to pause rates, and are they going to maintain a fairly bullish tone after the inflation reports, although coming in high, were fairly decent in my opinion here. Let's look at XLF financials. XLF financials here pulling back as well on today here, minus 0.5% here, but financials working with a lot of space, guys, before the daily higher low, more than QQQ and SPY at this point. So very potentially that QQQ might be leading to the downside, and XLF may be one of our last remaining bulls in this formation here. So anything above 34 pretty much is going to be looking out for your daily higher low. Good moving average support up here. On the weekly, a decent amount of space still created here, right, guys? Your weekly higher low is still set at around 33.69, so we'd be looking for the bulls to maintain that. But if for some reason we pull back too much, decent amount of space for them to potentially tighten up. We do have the moving averages down here, and we do have our support area here in green, right around this 34 to 34.50 pocket, right? So we are currently decent on financials, but not the best. So we're going to watch out for this closely, guys. But I do like how much space the bulls have put in. We're going to see if they can maintain. XLV Healthcare pulling back once again, right? So we were always looking, since this was a massive daily downtrend, always looking for the higher low below this high right here. We did get this with the pullback right now. So now we will be looking, can the bulls save this, potentially set a new daily uptrend with the amount of space they've created here? Or are they going to flush the 130.8 and set the furtherance of the daily downtrend? At that point, the weekly downtrend as well will just continue. And then we are going to be looking, guys, 129 becomes your key level, still trapped within this little support range here that we've been working with here. We'll see if the bulls can maintain this or if they flush through. If they flush through even on the weekly, guys, just want you to know that on the monthly are still looking fairly healthy, guys. Our monthly level as well is pretty much your 129 area. So the bulls are working with a decent amount of space here above these weekly higher lows, but gonna need to play some defense using these key support levels. IWM Russell struggling here at the bottom, down another % on Friday, right? So not the best performance by the Russell at all. Bulls with so much work to do to try to change this around, guys. This, right, hovering around the lows here, weekly bear flag, right? So very possible, guys, that if the bulls don't put up a decent amount of defense, if we flush our 181.50 level, pretty much this area, 181.75-ish, 181.50, we are going to create the first weekly downtrend. Has not been a weekly downtrend, guys. You have to go back a while, right? All the way since pretty much May is what we're dealing with here. So we've been in a tightening range. The bears were never able to double this weekly downtrend formation, right? The bulls were always able to save this. You can argue that this was the weekly downtrend as well. So pretty much since last May, right? 22 August, right? The bulls have always been able to play defense near the lows here. If they set the weekly downtrend here, guys, it will be notable to me. The 180 will be your pocket of support. And on the monthly bulls have a decent amount of space to work with. I'm not going to lie. Anything above 169 will just be for a monthly higher low here. Hopefully the bulls can get through September without too much damage here, and we can recover in October. Well, one thing's for sure, guys, if we pull down into our mid 170 area, I will be looking to write puts on this index, potentially picking up 100 or 200 shares of so, because I do believe in the Russell's capacity to recover here. It's just they have just been lagging behind the rest of the market for quite some time now. So key line in the sand level for me, guys, remains this level down here. Bulls with a lot of work to do, guys, to set the daily uptrend here. A lot of space to having to recover. So we'll see if they can do it. And finally, the Dow Jones here, guys. Dow Jones pulling back once again. This 34,500 level is acting like a magnet, right? Previous massive resistance is now current support here as they use it once again as support on the day. And I'll remind you, you are looking for your daily higher low. Anything above 34,300 is pretty much going to be that. Can the bulls save this, or are we going to come into a tightening range here around this level and keep using it as a magnet? That is what I'm looking out for. This is the key level though, however, because if bears flush this, becomes a daily downtrend, and then we potentially look out for a potential weekly consolidation then, and then your level becomes 34,000, guys. If the bears flush this on the weekly, it is a weekly downtrend. Then you'd have to look out to the monthly and just rely on the fact that 32,500-ish is your monthly high or low. So bulls with a decent amount of space to work with here, decent amount of support levels here to battle with as well, right? But they need to start recapturing these short-term time frames until we start seeing some massive legs up and confirmed daily uptrends for some time like we had back here, right? That is what we're dealing with here, guys. It's just kind of range bound and choppy. So keep an eye out for your 34,500 level first, and then your key weekly level here is going to be down at 34,000 if ever the bears flush this and capture the daily downtrend, you'll be looking out. Can they capture the weekly as well? Or are we just going to hover around here for the month of September, and then the bulls are going to come back in October? So we're going to look out for that here. Now, going to look at Bitcoin since we didn't cover it all week. Bitcoin bulls with a little bit of a rally. Now I need to see a sit down higher than our previous low here, set the daily uptrend and start moving up. But obviously bulls with a lot of work to do, been stuck in this range for a while. Line in the sand level remains put at 24,700. So decent little leg up here by the bulls, but still not out of this general area. I need to see this push continue, set a daily higher low, set the daily uptrend, and then start actually trending here. But the problem, I'll remind you, very low volume. So not liking crypto whatsoever right now. Now let's take a look at big tech, guys. So Apple first. Apple struggling with the 175 area here. Bulls playing a good amount of defense here, not willing to lose this 173.62 area here, which is your daily low flush, right? So bears not able to confirm the daily downtrend yet, right? Will they be able to do it next week? We will see. If they flush this level, it is a daily downtrend. And then you look out to the weekly, which is slightly up below that, 172.34. Flush that, guys, comes a weekly downtrend. So if they do it this week and pull back further, your weekly downtrend is confirmed. At that point, monthly consolidation is continuing here. We will see if September ends red, and maybe even the start of October candle will be red in this lower area here. So we can finally get a monthly higher low into further monthly continuation to the upside. So Apple consolidating a lot here, coming up to very key levels. We will keep a close eye on that. My Apple position was closed. I opened the 172.50s for next week. Keep in mind, we are in my sweet spot for Apple. So anything below pretty much 175 all the way down to pretty much the mid 160s are positions where I don't mind picking up a few extra Apple shares, because I do think that this would be the extent of our monthly consolidation if we do come all the way down there. But let's just keep it one day at a time. Obviously the bulls, if you want to see the bulls recapture this, need a break of 181 to the upside, and then they'll create enough space for the daily uptrend. AMD pulling back a lot, guys, losing all momentum whatsoever. So now, unfortunately, all of this move is completely undone. The bears have now set the daily downtrend with this most recent move. So unfortunately, we once again have to look up to weekly. Weekly, we are still in a weekly confirmed downtrend, so nothing has changed here. Monthly consolidation still continuing on AMD. For the fourth month in a row at this point, we are coming into our crucial area of support, which is my sweet spot here, 99, pretty much 105 all the way down to 99, 98. So we're going to keep an eye on that, guys. But the crucial level now, guys, remains our previous lows here, 99.63. If they break that, guys, well, your weekly downtrend just continues. No surprise there. And we will be looking out for eventually, the bulls are eventually going to have to reverse the string of daily downtrends that they've been in for the past 4 months here. So keep an eye on your lower low area. Now on the daily time frame, guys, the bulls have to restart from scratch at this point, right? Have to wait for this to bottom out, then set a move up, and then set the higher low, and then start the rise again. So all of this, unfortunately, has been undone with this 1 day of trading minus 5%. So AMD, I mean, I still like AMD at these levels, but unfortunately, the long-term bulls, unfortunately, the short-term bulls have lost control. The long-term bulls, such as the monthly, are still deeply in control, as anything above 82 pretty much is just looking for your monthly higher low. I'm very confident in AMD's capacity to hold the longer-term timeframes. Amazon pulling back, decent little pullback day on Amazon, 3%, right? So we were always looking for the daily pullback into a daily higher low, anything above 134 essentially is just going to be that. So bulls with a lot of space to work with still, right? And we do have some nice horizontal support in here. We have the confluence of the moving averages as well. So keep an eye out on that, guys. Amazon still, even on the weekly, looking very, very good, right? Even if we do start pulling back, anything pretty much above 130 at this point is just going to be looking for your weekly higher low. Tons of support down here as well. And Amazon's just been doing that, right? Grinding higher, kind of grinding higher ever so slightly. So we're going to take a look at Amazon bulls. If they can keep up this most recent daily move, but take back too much of it, and you could set up for the daily downtrend, which would lead in to further weekly consolidation and start testing our previous areas of support here. So Amazon, which was our lead bull, even now is starting to lose some ground. Now let's look into Google. Google, not that bad on the day in relation to the rest of the market, right? Only 0.5% down. Google still maintaining its gains here, has set the daily uptrend, right, with this little pop here above, but not able to really crack and break hard above our 138.50 level. Kind of still struggling, guys. So even though they do have a daily uptrend right here, right, it's very, very, very weak. It is still kind of a tightening little range here at the top, right? Decent little bull flag, however, on the weekly, right, could be due for some future upside. But Google and Amazon, which were our lead bulls, cannot do it alone, guys. If the market continues to drop, if Apple doesn't cooperate either, then Google and Amazon will pull back as well, right? So Google, the line in the sand level for me, guys, honestly, at this point remains 134.28. This whole area right here, right? Flush this, and you really lose these daily uptrends, could set up for the daily downtrend. And then your weekly level, I'll remind you, is all the way down here at 128 bulls with a lot of space to work with here on the weekly here. So even if Amazon does, or sorry, even if Google does pull back for the next 2 weeks, tons of space above 128. Weekly uptrend is very, very, very healthy. But I'll remind you, lead bulls can also turn bearish if the market doesn't cooperate. So decent performance on Google, decent defense here. Remains to be seen. Can they hold it up? Meta losing pretty much like 7-8 days of trading, guys, in one single day here, right? Line in the sand level for me on Meta right now remains at this point, right? All the way, right? We never really pulled back hard to set a pretty much daily uptrend. So we're still rising, need to set the daily higher lows and push higher, in my opinion. So line in the sand is still 276. Wouldn't want to see them lose this 290 support though. That would be pretty devastating for the bulls, because they would also give back way too much of this move here, guys. So we'll see. We still have some decent, look, all this area of chop zone. This is now a very decent area of support that we got right here, right? This 295 area. So I'm looking for the bulls to play a bit of defense with these moving averages and with your 295 area, but flush that, guys. You know, you don't want to see them give back too much of this nice little move up, because this is like 3 weeks of trading, guys. If they take it back in 3 days, it shows you that the bulls are here. I mean, the bears are here to play here. So this is also your weekly level too, right? We'll keep an eye on that, guys. This 276 is crucial. If you start pulling back into here, guys, and lose this 276 over the next 2 weeks, well, you will be in a weekly downtrend. And then Meta, your monthly consolidation continues, but so much space on Meta, it doesn't even matter at this point. Bulls are well in control of the longer time frames. It's just, can we continue this weekly up move here, or are they going to give it up and are we due for further consolidation? So keep an eye. These are your crucial levels here on Meta over the next 2 weeks. Microsoft, as well, as you can see, giving up the past like 8, 9, 10 days of trading in pretty much one daily candle here. So you do, similar to Meta, have a decent amount of support right here, right at the 328 level. Okay, same chart as Meta. Decent moving averages as support and decent little horizontal support line as well. So we're going to keep an eye on our confluence here, see if they flush the 328. If they flush the 328, guys, the line in the sand level for me remains 318.95, 319, right? This is your daily higher low, this guy right here. So take back too much of this move, you could set up a daily downtrend. At that point, if it is a daily downtrend, you look to your weekly consolidation will be underway, and we keep an eye on our weekly low, 312.50. Smash 312.50, and with our September seasonality, last 2 weeks of the month here, you'll be in a weekly confirmed downtrend. And then monthly consolidation on Microsoft does continue. Keep in mind, my sweet spot is all the way down here. If we do pull down here, I will be very anxious to pick up more Microsoft and also trade Microsoft at those levels. I do think that the valuation becomes fair down there, still a little bit rich, but fair at least to make some plays on. So keep an eye on that for Microsoft. Microsoft giving up a little bit of gains, but still a decent amount of space to work with. NVIDIA, guys, losing the daily uptrend confirmed. Daily downtrend is confirmed. Losing the 450 level quite considerably now, as a matter of fact, right? 439 on the close. So our first line of defense here, 450, has been smashed by the bears. Daily downtrend has been confirmed. So we look higher to the weekly. Weekly consolidation now well underway here with the past 2 weeks ending red. So 404, key level for NVIDIA, guys. Key level. The closer the bulls permit the bears to give back to this, the harder it becomes to V-shape, especially without any earnings or anything like that in the near future, right? So keep an eye on the size of this pullback here. As of now, the pullback is fairly decent. The bears have taken back over 61.8%, right, of the move. You never want to see that. That is the area to which bulls is going to have a very hard time V-shaping this completely, right? So we'll keep an eye. We are flirting with the 12 EMA right here. It is NVIDIA, however, right? So you have to give the bulls a bit of the benefit of the doubt on that. But closer we come to 404, guys, I start to get nervous for NVIDIA's capacity to start V-shaping this without more company-specific news. Lose this, guys. Lose the weekly uptrend, set up potentially for the weekly downtrend. At that point, maybe, just maybe, NVIDIA's monthly consolidation could start here. Hasn't ever happened yet, right? So at any point, guys, we know that eventually these monthly moves top out and the bulls need to start taking a breather for 1, 2, or 3 months. Is that going to be now? As a lot of our tech names have started doing it, right? NVIDIA is one of the only ones that hasn't started monthly consolidation. So NVIDIA has been our lead bull for a long time. If they start monthly consolidation, the rest of technology may be following suit. All right, so just keep that in mind. Very, very crucial. And now Tesla. Tesla, guys, Tesla holding up better than most. I'm not going to lie. Have to admit that the bulls have been doing a great job here of holding up, right? We almost got up to 280 on Friday, but closed the day roughly around 274. So daily uptrend. This is one of the healthiest charts of all tech. Daily ups trend still continues here. And this move is still not topped out. As soon as we start, look at these series of higher lows every single day, excuse me, right? So whenever we lose that, if we lose the lows here that we set next week, then your daily consolidation will start to be underway here. Anything above 243 pretty much will just be for a daily higher low. Tons of horizontal support here, moving averages down here, right? So if we do pull back, guys, bulls are set up nicely to have the chance to remain in a daily uptrend here. Just set a daily higher low and move a bit higher here. But once again, Tesla cannot do it on its own if the market doesn't cooperate here. If the daily uptrend does start pulling back here a little bit, well, we may be due for also a weekly pullback here. Wouldn't be surprising. I like the amount of space that the bulls have put in so far. But now, guys, keep in mind, it's been pretty much 4 weeks of continuous upside here. So about a month worth of upside. If we do pull back, guys, well, tons of space. Anything above 212 is just going to be looking for a weekly higher low to reset a weekly uptrend potentially into the month of October here. So Tesla holding up very, very, very well, right? So as soon as this move tops up, look for the daily higher low for further continuation. Bulls in control now of the daily uptrend in a severe fashion. And obviously a resistance up here stays put between 290 and 300 psychological here. Great job on Tesla. Tesla remains our current lead bull as well as Amazon and Google. But we'll see, can they start holding it up? Can they keep holding it up, guys, right? To remind you on the heat map, you'll see which ones didn't drop the most. Google and Tesla, right? Amazon had a big pullback there on that day, but Tesla and Google still trying their best to hold up this market. And now Palantir and PayPal. Palantir pulling back here, still trapped within our tightening range. This chart, I really don't like this chart, guys. You know, it's been pretty much since August, right? So it's been over a month. And the bulls have not been able to do much of anything. You see it best on the weekly, guys. This is a weekly bear flag, right? I've given the bulls now 5 weeks of opportunity to set a bounce. They couldn't get it done. So this is a weekly bear flag, guys. Could very well, if our September seasonality does play out and the markets continue to drop perhaps, right? This is worst case scenario. We could end up here with a drop. If you flush 1377, guys, it becomes a weekly downtrend and your Palantir monthly consolidation does continue. Tons of space, anything above here, right, for the monthly higher low, but still, bulls not able to sustain the same type of rally that they had back here, right? So first level for me on the daily becomes 1432. Lose 1432, you lose the daily uptrend, and then it's all the way down to 1371. 1371 to maintain the weekly uptrend, right? Lose 1371, you're in a weekly downtrend at this point, right? Head and shoulders setup, very potential, right? So Palantir, if we do come down here, I'm looking at it as a buying opportunity, anything between $13 and $12. I will definitely be writing some contracts on Palantir. And lastly, PayPal here. PayPal had a great start to the day here, coming all the way up to 65.70, guys. But then unfortunately pulling back as the rest of the market couldn't sustain the gains here. So PayPal pulling back, still in a confirmed daily uptrend here. At this point, put in a decent amount of space here, guys. Right? Ooh. Anything pretty much above your $64 line here, anything above pretty much 60.33, excuse me, is going to be a daily high or low. Moving averages down here acting as support as well. And PayPal has gotten a lot of decent volume here over the past, ever since its last two earnings. You can see volume has been pretty decent here. It is one of the most traded names in terms of shares and options. Obviously, as people battle between, is it an undervalued company? There's a lot of people trying to short it. There's a lot of people and institutions trying to buy it because it is at a relatively low valuation with a pretty high growth rate still. So we'll see, can the bulls maintain this daily uptrend that they fought so hard for? Almost up to the level that I wanted them to get to here. So very decent performance on PayPal. Pulling up nicely, guys. I like the weekly close. One more week. If PayPal can defy the markets for another week, we will pull up into our previous zone here. I want to see the same type of move. Consolidate maybe, and then push higher. So move up, push up higher, consolidate, and then they can potentially move up, reset the weekly uptrend. But for now, keep an eye. Daily uptrend must continue for that to happen, right? Like to see them pull up into 66, 67 range here. And now lastly, guys, my portfolio. So little portfolio update. We'll see how we stand. On Friday, we closed 43.57%. versus the S&P 500 just under 16, right? So you'll see that we're still outperforming almost on a 3-to-1 basis, not quite from the S&P. And versus the NASDAQ 100, guys, we are still up as well. Us performing at 43.5 and the NASDAQ down to about 31.79 here, right? So decent little outperformance versus both indexes. Now in terms of my positions, so you will see that I now have 66 covered calls on PayPal. I didn't get the top, pretty disappointed. I was thinking that it could potentially hold in the 65, so I did wait, and then the stock just continued dropping, and I had to make a decision. Do I want to write the covered calls for next week? You can see, guys, that down here, my cost on PayPal roughly is around 66.59, right? So I'm writing these 66 calls. If the market is red next week, guys, it's very possible that these calls just don't end up in the money. But I do feel that if they do end up in the money, I'll be able to roll them for some decent premium as well. So we're just looking to collect some premium on PayPal. I'll remind you, my cost on PayPal is $66.12. Your break even right here. So this has now dropped it under $66 right now, right? So about 65-ish, right? 65.80 right now is going to be my break even on PayPal. So almost there, assigned at around 67.50 here. Done a good job here, but now PayPal is finally in the territory where we can write covered calls. So I have those two lined up for next Friday. Apple, we did close some Apple shares last week, right? So we had the puts here. I'll remind you, we wrote the Apple 175s right here, right, for 97 cents. Well, we were able to close them on Friday as Apple was kind of flirting below 175. We closed them at 20 cents and we opened instead the 172.50s for next week. So I captured about 70 cents of premium here, 76 cents of premium on the previous Apple ones. And now we wrote the 172.5s for next Friday on Apple. So looking forward to see how that position plays out as well. It is in my sweet spot. AMD, we wrote the 104 puts here. You can see that we wrote them on pretty much Friday afternoon. They are in the money, guys. I do think AMD is a bit oversold here. I don't mind writing in the money here, right? I had the option. You remember, guys, early in the week, I had the 99s and closed them, basically expired worthless. Well, now at this point, guys, we wrote the 104s because I do believe that if we do have a little pop here, it'll be good. But the reason I did that is to pocket a lot of premium. Our average cost is now down into the 101s. And if AMD keeps dropping, I will throw another contract down here in the 97, 96 range. So I'm just looking to pick up as many shares of AMD as I can at a good valuation right here. So you can see, guys, that we even have this other contract that I've put on right here, the 97 puts for 56 cents. So we're kind of running a little bit of a averaging strategy right here, right off the gate here. So I'm trying to collect as most amount of premium as AMD possible in my sweet spot. The CSIQs, I had the CSIQ 25 puts. You guys can see that I wrote them up here. Can you see them on screen? Probably not because I wrote them 2 Fridays ago here. But anyways, we had written them for 20 cents. They expired worthless as CSIQ finished above here. Right around 27.34. So those pretty much got called away. They were pretty much worthless, pocketed 20 cents. Dropped our average cost even further now. Our average cost on CSIQ is all the way down to 31.99. So this little green line right here, not quite there yet, but putting in some good work here. GM, 32.5 puts. They ended worthless. I'll remind you guys, I wrote the GMs. Can you see them? No, you can't because they were on Friday. But anyways, these GMs were written at around 37 cents. So we pocketed everything, expired worthless, as GM did close on Friday above here around 33.95. So very good win there as well. Lastly, we have our Charles Schwab. Charles Schwab with the 57s here. Can you see the Schwabs here? You can see the Schwabs. 2 filled for 26 cents a pop. So pocketed the entire 26 cents as they did end worthless pretty much on Friday here. Schwab ending definitely above 57 here. You guys can see ending 58.22. And lastly, we do have some Teslas here. Tesla 267. I didn't write any Teslas for this week, but I want to show you guys 266. So what we did on Tesla here, had a lot of Teslas early on the week. Closed these very early. Remember, I wrote this one for almost $3, wrote this one for about $1.80, and we closed them at decent premiums. Then we wrote the 260s for $1.80, and we closed them worthless on Friday for 12 cents. So we pocketed pretty much $1.68. And then what I did that same day on Friday here is I sold a very cheeky put here, the 266. You can see I wrote them actually on Thursday afternoon, closed, and then opened the 266s for the very next day for 50 cents. And obviously Tesla closing above 266, closed at 274, but you guys saw that. So Tesla closing absolutely worthless as well. Pocketed another 50 cents on Tesla here as well. So now I'm only down about $2.70 on a share on 200 shares of Tesla. So looking forward to continue to bringing down my loss on Tesla as I keep writing these premiums. I will also be writing some Teslas for next week. I want to try to find some in the lower 260s or maybe even high 250s. But I'm telling you guys, we will become profitable on Tesla, if not this week, the week after, and it'll have made this past month and a bit of chasing Tesla up and down all worthwhile here, so can't really complain about that. So that's pretty much it on the portfolio, and you can see I did add another 100 shares of TMF here. As I said, if it hits 575, I will be averaging into it. You can see right here, filled slightly above on the bid here, put in pretty much a market order when I saw it there, 576 pretty much at the open here when it was trading around there on Friday. So we got pretty much the open 576. So now you can see we have an average here, 200 shares at about 603. I'll remind you, TMF are 3x leverage play on the bonds, coming down to pretty much our all-time lows here, right? As our US 20-year bond yields here approach near our all-time highs at around 4.66%. We're almost there, guys. So I'm really trying to pick the bottom on this thing. We know that rates are not going to continuously move up here. So just trying to play the reversal on this one. We'll hit it as best as we can. Keep averaging and build this position. So that's pretty much all I had for you guys today. Hope you appreciated the update. Hope you guys are also having a very decent weekend too. Tomorrow I'll be uploading another video, top 5 growth, top 5 value stocks. So look forward to that. I hope you guys had a great week on trading as well. And as usual, consider liking the video, consider subscribing. If you're new to the channel, we'd love to hear you. We'd love to have you here as well. I appreciate all of your guys' engagement. It really helps grow the channel. And as always, if you have any questions whatsoever, feel free to put them in the comments and I'll be glad to answer you. So take care. See you in the next one and peace.